Order.
Call the meeting to order. Thanks for everybody for coming on.
All right, thank you,
Josh,
Chairman.
you go there with the national anthem and all that.
Yeah, I'll take it. So reading of the Open Public Meeting Act. Hold on, I'm having technical. All right. Reading the PMA statement on December 30th, 2019. Notice of this meeting was emailed to the Courier Post and Bellmawr City News newspaper publication and duly posted on the Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website. The corresponding official notice to Borough Clerk was emailed on January 2nd, 2020, which included requests for posting notice to the official Borough of Bellmawr website and bulletin board. Further, on July 8th, 2020, notice of this meeting's location change to online, which included all remaining scheduled meetings for 2020, was duly posted to the agency's official website, as well as emailed to the Courier Post and Bellmawr City News newspapers for publication. Corresponding official notice to Borough Clerk was emailed the same day, parenthetically July 8, 2020, which included requests for posting notice to the official Borough of Bellmawr website and bulletin board. All requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been met and in compliance with the Sunshine Law. Now we'll salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
world.
All right, that brings us to the roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Present.
Vice Chair Jay Garagoza,
Present.
Commissioner Paul DeAngelis, Commissioner Steve Haggerty, Commissioner Nick Kapados,
Here.
Commissioner Tom Whitman. Tom, I thought I saw you jump on. You got yourself muted, or just video. All right, we'll mark Tom as tentative for now, but confirm his presence in a minute. Commissioner Neil Patel.
Here.
All right. Management professionals, Josh Regier, Executive Director. That's me. I am here. Mike McKenna, Esquire, agency solicitor. He is here.
Hi.
Mr. Whitman, we got you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, do you just want to confirm your presence?
I did. Yes, sir. I'm here.
We lost. David Weinstein, Esquire, agency special counsel, contract. David here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
All right. Dennis McCody, agency engineer.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks to the agenda, reading in the minutes, 21st, regular meeting, reports, executive director, commercial, business, public portion. Reading of the minutes, regular meeting, 21st, 2020.
Excuse me, Josh. Could you ask anybody who's everybody to mute but for the speaker? We're getting a lot of feedback.
Yes, and I'll just footnote that with when it comes time to vote. All right. So once again, reading of the minutes, regular meetings, September 21st, 2020. Need a motion.
I make a motion, Josh. This is Anil.
Thank you, Anil.
I second it. Jay Garagoza.
Thank you, Jay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, very good. That brings us to communications. Having received none, I have none. Commissioners' reports. I'd rather run through the list. Does anybody have an update that they want to share? If not, I'll give it a few seconds. All right, we'll close the commissioner's report portion. Executive director's report. You'll see in the agenda tonight a resolution for the establishment of the procedure for the professional contracts for 2021. This is basically the standard RSP procedure for said professionals that we've been following for the last 2 years. So the resolution is largely boilerplate. So with that, this would just be to the authorization to release the RFP, which I would intend to do by Monday, post and publish it by Monday, 26th. and then allow vendors or professionals to provide their submittals to me with a deadline of Friday, December 4th at 5 p.m. via email. At that point, they'll be collated, collected, and distributed to all the stakeholders prior to the last meeting of the year, anything for review, and then, we anticipate awarding, given all the particular approvals, at the tentatively scheduled reorg meeting for first 2 weeks in January 2021. Any questions on that at all? All right, I'll bring that on. Just agreement is set on project slightly. It's not much I have to say other than just an item that, Mike and I have been going back and forth on a little bit more, a lot more so Mike and David, which provide the update. Required educational courses, I need to reach out to a couple of you individually for those courses for Q4. There are still some available. And then my focus over the next couple of weeks will be finishing and finalizing the audit along with the budget 2021. And I'll get a firm timeline out to everybody shortly on that. That is it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, moving on to Mr. McKenna and Mr. Weinstein.
You're on mute, Mike.
Thank you. It's hard enough to mute me. I just want to say a few words before David reviews with you the documents. The general structure of this transaction is governed by the RDA. You have already not only had that reviewed and presented to you, but it's been authorized for signature and, in fact, signed by our chairman and executive director. What remains are two other documents that David is going to review with you. You've seen the site lease before when David presented it some months ago. It has gone from skeletal form to a complete structure, and David has put together an agreement of sale on a fairly complex real estate transaction involving tidal waters, landfills, and all of that he's going to outline for you. Sequencing will come later. We are not asking for authorization to sign tonight. We just thought it ought to be something that you saw, had some time to mull over before we come back to you and present it as the right time to authorize signatures. So with that, let me get out of David's way and ask him to review and give us the benefit of his hard work over the last several months.
Thank you, Mike. So here's where we are, and here's what you have in front of you. I sent over to Josh last week the forms as they were approved with the redevelopment agreement. They have not been modified or changed there. Most of the discussions I've been having with the Redevelopers Council has been memorialized in my notes, will be put in as we go forward. But in form, we wanted to make sure you understood what the documents are and how they're going to work and how they relate back to the redevelopment agreement. Because, the redevelopment agreement, as Mike said, lays out the big framework on everything, on how the deal is going to work. But these ancillary documents are what can be utilized to, one, acquire the lands into the redevelopment agency, and two, the site lease is going to control the relationship between the redevelopment agency and the redeveloper when they lease back the lands from you. So first and foremost, the reason why this is coming up now is that there's some movement on the redeveloper side. I spoke to their counsel earlier today again. They are getting close to having the value that's required for the Tidelands grant, so that they're getting a number on that. They're waiting to hear back from the DAG. And the land that is in West Deptford, they want to try to convey that earlier rather than in conjunction with the other two properties. The way that the redevelopment agreement reads under section 9.2, there's 3 transfers that are supposed to happen to the redevelopment agency. One is the West Deptford parcel, which is the swap parcel, for lack of a better term. The second is the borough lands, which are supposed to come to the redevelopment agency. And the third is the redevelopers or the BWD parcels that are supposed to come over to the redevelopment agency. The way that the redevelopment agreement contemplates, all 3 of those transactions are supposed to occur simultaneously. The redeveloper is asking if they can transfer the West Deptford parcel first, just so you know. We're not going to get into details as to when that's all going to happen, but because that transaction is more ready to go, get that transferred over and then have the other two parcels come behind. We can discuss that when they get a little closer, but that's one of the reasons that we're now starting to review these documents, because if that does occur, we need to have these agreements in place, and we want all three purchase agreements in place now, so that when you move forward, you know when the transactions are going to happen. The agreements themselves are pretty simple. They're not overly complex. These are not as complex in any way, shape, or form as the redevelopment agreement. The idea here is that you agree to receive the title to the properties. There's standard indemnities in the agreement for acquisition, as you would have for any other property. You also have in there provisions regarding title, as to the clarity of title that you're receiving. It's really a very, I'll say this in a strange term with this deal, vanilla transaction document. Most of the things that we've done have not been very vanilla or normal. They've been very complex. These documents are much less complex when it comes to the acquisition document. The lease, if you recall, from the redevelopment agreement is a percentage of gross revenue lease on all these things. So if they make money, you get percentage of those gross revenues. There is base payments that are required to cover the operational expenses of the redevelopment agency, but otherwise everything's a percentage of revenues going forward as they make money, so that you are entitled to receive, and that this is going back to the original redevelopment agreement concepts, that you're still going to make sure that the base taxes that were paid to the to the borough are still going to be received, that the expenses of the redevelopment agency are going to be covered, so that you're at least left whole during the transaction until such time as they're able to make money on this transaction, where you'll get a little bit more of the pie. That's really the 30,000-foot view of what you're looking at right now. There are details that still need to get filled in as we get closer, and that's part of the reason why, as Mike said, we're not asking you to do anything here today. We're not asking you to authorize anything here today, because we don't have the documents final yet, because there's still information we need to get from the redeveloper to add in before we can even present to you a document for you to say, this is where we're headed and this is what we need you to sign. It's so far wholly within the original concept of what the redevelopment agreement was contemplating, and the transactions that we're now getting closer to executing on are still the same transactions that we were talking about when we presented the redevelopment agreement to you several months ago.
Thanks, David. David, am I right that even when the commissioners authorize our execution of the agreement of sale, there's going to be a period of time between agreement and closing where we do a lot of due diligence, surveys, title work, the various state agency contingencies, all of that work has to happen after we're authorized. Yes?
That's correct. I mean, some of that diligence obviously occurred before, but they're contingent. Those things have to happen. You're not just going to take a piece of land in its current state without knowing what it is. And that's normal. So at that point in time, we'll be going back. We already know and have a lot of reporting, or the redeveloper has a lot of reporting. We just need to make sure we've had a chance to review that and have that material, and that you've fully vetted it, or in reality, we've vetted it for you and given you a report of what it is, so you're fully aware of what it is you're acquiring. As part of that, there's just a little side note, Mike. If you recall, there's a Green Acres deed that the redeveloper council was talking about, and I was trying to understand the timing on when that has to happen. I'm waiting for some paperwork to come over from Don. He's supposed to provide us with information on why we can't just do a straight swap on the properties, and why the Green Acres has to come in first before we actually, he said there's a timing mechanism. The DAG had put something, he said in writing, I want to see it, as to why there's a timing requirement for us to acquire the lands before, he has to acquire lands before that are going to be part of the park lands, because if they don't, he says, and they come into the borough's hands beforehand, they become subject to the Green Acres restrictions automatically, because they spread onto all open space I want to see this in writing because it doesn't make any sense to me. But if that's what DEP is telling us, that's what we're going to do. But I want it in writing from them, and I want it from DEP.
Dave, thanks for looking out for us there.
Mike, can I ask, or Dave, either one of you is going to answer this question, just, for my own notification, what will be the trigger point, which document, or the finalization of which document for requiring the environmental liability insurance?
So,
We're not
Josh,
taking title.
go ahead, Mike.
Well, we're not taking title. The RDA governs this. We're not taking title until we have full insurance in place. This was hotly negotiated, and it's a requirement that's out there. You and I, Josh, have talked about this quite a bit. They continue to have to get updates from the broker because as the goal line gets moved, so do the premiums. So we won't take title. Rest assured, we will not take title until we are fully insured. And I should point out that we've owned 1/3 of this tract for a long time and had not one speck of insurance on it. So we're going to make sure that all 3 places are fully insured to our benefit before we take title.
All right,
And thank you, Mike.
I'm sorry, Dave, you have anything else, or Mike?
Well, and that's one of the things actually that we're going to get in advance. So on the property that's in West Deptford, that's that parcel. Since that is a little further advanced, he's actually going to be providing us the information on insurance sooner. I talked to them earlier, and it sounds like we should be getting that in the next couple of weeks. In advance even of doing an agreement of sale, just so we can start getting some of that material.
Very good. Any questions for Mike and David from the Board of Commissioners? And I don't mean to cut you gentlemen off if you guys still have more going on, or...
At your pleasure, Josh.
Mike, you good?
I'm good, sir.
All right. And hearing nothing from the board, I will make our way on to new business.
Josh, I'm going to sign off unless you want me to stay on. I will stay on mute because my son is doing a saxophone lesson. Next time. So I can either go away or stay muted. Your call.
It's good to see you, but you can go away.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. All right, regular meeting new business, resolution of the Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency number, resolution 10:03620, establishing the procedure for the awarding of professional contracts 2021.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. Jay Gargosa.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Jay. This is financial or contractually driven, so I will ask for a roll call on the vote. Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Chairman Philippek?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Garagoza?
Yes.
And Commissioner Kapanos?
Yes.
Been so quiet, Nick, this session. I forgot you were there.
Being good.
That brings us to resolution number 10:037-20, the Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency authorizing payment of outstanding bills. Again, just need a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
second it.
I think the chairman beat you to it there, Jay.
Okay.
And again, this is financial, so we are going to do a roll call. So once again, Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Patel,
Yes.
Commissioner Kapados,
Yes.
Vice Chair Garagoza,
Yes.
and Chairman Philippek.
Yes.
All right, that concludes new business. This brings us to the public portion. I do not see any other people listed on the with the participants, but I'm going to give it 5 seconds anyway. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak, please do so now. All right, hearing nothing, that brings us to adjournment. Just need a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn. I want to thank everybody for coming.
Thank
I
you.
seconded. This is Anil.
All right. Thank
Right.
you, Phil. All right, everybody all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Next meeting
Night, all.
is November 16th, and that's it. Thanks again.
Everybody be safe.
You too, man.
Okay.